This episode is sponsored by First Home Mortgage.
Where sometimes you really got to look. So some people are deceitful. Yeah. I did one where they pinned up all new wood, like it was like plywood.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's suspicious. So I pull it down. I don't care.
Yeah.
I rip it down. Nothing but termite damage. The entire main structural beam had been chewed through all the way across, and they just encapsulated and completely hid it. And then I was like, all right, now what else needs to be found? I don't abide by that at all. I test every outlet, every light switch, every fixture in the home. If it operates, turns on, even if it sits there, I'm looking at it.
Hi everybody, this is Matt Rhine on another episode of All Roads Lead to Real Estate, and I have a guest here who I am exceptionally embarrassed to admit. Just a moment ago, he informed me a couple years ago you were on the podcast when we had just started.
I have been here before, yeah.
And boy, does this, implies a few things about how horrible my memory is and how crazy busy we both probably are.
Hey, busy's good.
Well, welcome back. I was going to welcome you for the first time, but now I'm going to have to welcome you a second time. And man, time flies. That's all I have to say about that.
Yeah, it does. A lot has happened in the past couple years.
A lot has happened, and there's a reason why I wanted to invite you here. And I think, I guess we'll get right into it. Why have anything now that you're a veteran of the podcast here, Jake? So the person that I have here is Jake Bowling, and he came, I guess, originally as a licensed home inspector, and now you've kind of branched out in a lot of ways. That's what a lot has changed. And I will tell you, one of the consistencies that it's never changed for me are people's reluctance to either ask questions related to the home itself, the process, and all of the things, and like the half-truths about the process. And the reason why it is so valuable to have a home inspector in a conversation like this is I want to alleviate some of the initial concerns people have. And you are uniquely positioned for that. It's a reason why I refer you. I've used you personally. I recommend you to clients. It's a whole thing. So you're at the top of our referral list. So congratulations, Jake.
Thank you. I do appreciate that.
And Jake is the owner-operator of a home inspection company, and it's called White Oak. And White Oak's website is whiteoakhs.com. I'm assuming that's home services?
Yep.
So whiteoakhs.com. And so what makes Jake unique is that he used to work for a larger firm, a good firm. I still use that firm. And Jake was one of the standouts at the company. And I really enjoyed working with you. And your perspective is a little different because you're also a licensed Maryland home improvement contractor. And you have license also to do HVAC.
Yep.
And so you have a better, I think, general, wider perspective than some other other inspectors I've worked with. And so I think today we need to go through some things that I think are the items that people want to know about. I want to save people money because some of these things that we get into could so easily be avoided.
Yeah, I think a lot of the fear can be avoided. I think that's my biggest goal is just to inform you on the house. So many inspectors just come through, want to throw all the knowledge at you, tell you all the defects, scare the heck out of people. I'd say most of the times I see a deal go to failure or to not go to close is at the inspection.
It can be. And so, I'll say I've been to so many home inspections. It's easy. I have to stop myself from trying to answer questions a licensed home inspector should answer because I'm not licensed in that department.
No, but you know enough to be dangerous.
That's the scary part. I know just enough, but I know the education that you guys have to consistently do. Not only that, but it's your reps. You just already finished 2 or 3 today, and we're recording at 3 in the afternoon.
Yeah, I had 2 inspections this morning.
Yeah.
I have 6 this week.
Yeah.
It's been good, but I'm in a lot of homes.
You're in a lot of homes. So basically, Jake, what I would like to go through and what I'm hopeful to do is to dispel some of these traditional concerns people have. I want to walk through what a home inspection is and what it's not. Mm-hmm. And I know, because I'm a big believer in leveraging artificial intelligence and all these platforms that everybody's starting to get more experience with.
Yeah, AI is wonderful.
AI can be wonderful and terrifying at the same time because I have people coming to me trying to educate me on what we should do. And I'm like, just so you know, ChatGPT isn't always right every time.
It's often wrong. especially when you get specific.
Right. And so I think we need to use it as a tool. So I want to get into that, but also understand, I think it should help you make a better decision, but ask better questions is how I would think about it.
Yeah, it's a wonderful tool, but you got to be a little careful with it for sure.
You got to be careful with
Especially, there's apps now that you can walk through the home and do a home inspection with AI.
Oh, wow.
And that's terrifying.
Yeah.
I saw that online and I'm like, okay, so that's how you miss like 80% of the things wrong with the home, but go right ahead.
Well, I always I say asterisks next to all these things because I think what is available today is not going to be what the quality is going to look like in 5 years, for example.
Yeah, give it time and it'll be crazy.
We're all replaced eventually, but not yet. We still have a little bit of value.
Hopefully I'm safe.
We're safe for now. So Jake, before I get into the nitty gritty, which I think people will find fascinating that are either considering buying or selling, but just the process in general. But I want to first go over a little bit about who you are. I know you're a Baltimore native, so just tell everybody kind of where you're from and a little bit of your backstory.
Yeah, born and raised Baltimore area, mostly Bel Air growing up, then moved to Parkville for several years. Went to John Carroll High School. It's a local school. A lot of people know that one.
Yeah.
Started college, decided it wasn't for me.
Yeah.
There was no ROI on that one.
Yeah.
So I dropped out, went to trade school, was in HVAC for about 6 years, got my journeyman's in that. And then I moved to home inspecting, and then I was a home inspector for probably about a year and a half, and then decided to get my contractor's license.
Right.
Because I saw a lot of the work that was being done,
Yes.
and it was kind of terrifying. And I was like, hey, I can do a better job than that.
Yeah.
So then I got my MHIC license, started doing that on the side while working for a larger home inspecting firm. And then finally got to a big enough size where I was like, all right, time to go out on my own.
Right.
So I've been doing home inspecting and general contracting for the past year.
Yeah.
And it's been good. But some of the other certifications I have septic inspection certified, well yields, pre-drywall, so that's like structural, before all the insulation drywall goes up for new builds, mold certified, radon certified. Pretty much if it's in a home, I have some kind of certification for it.
Right. Well, I mean, and I give you all the credit in the world. It's hard enough to be a home inspector because it's challenging. I'm there, and some of the questions you get asked, I always say it's the parents. If there's a parent involved, boy, does that get challenging.
Oh, yeah. When dad shows up, it's a good time. But
it can be challenging because it's like the type of questions you get can be really interesting and aggressive at times. But so you're dealing with people, not just homes, and that is everyone doesn't understand that.
Dealing with people is probably the best and worst part of it.
Right.
I love looking at homes. I can be at that home all day long, but I don't have to convey information to that home without terrifying them, without alarming them or anything like that. So I just like to say I'm giving you a thorough evaluation of the home. It's kind of like a physical, except the house can't lie about things it's been neglecting. So that's pretty much it.
Yeah. So so there are times where we have to waive a formal inspection in advance. So even in those instances, I still have people do a home inspection. I know you've done them for some of my clients, because if you have 10 offers and you have to be super competitive, there are signs that you can do, like go through when you're walking and touring a home that can determine. You can't negate the risk altogether ever, right, when you skip an inspection. And quite frankly, and you'll admit this, even with an inspection, you can't possibly say that nothing will ever go wrong. Right. That's not true either.
Yeah. So, I mean, when people waive inspections, it always does concern me a little bit, but I am an inspector. But for certain homes, you just do what you got to do. But getting that inspection is key, because we'll go through it with the fine-tooth comb. We're going to look at everything, even give you all the little maintenance recommendations. And that way you just get a thorough evaluation of your home. It's unbiased. That way you know everything, every outlet that's not functioning, every little crack where moisture can enter the home, lifted shingle, all that.
Yeah, it's a very large report. There's photos of every aspect, so you don't have to remember anything, because oftentimes buyers, they're overwhelmed.
That's the first thing I say, actually. It's like, hey, I'm going to throw a lot of information at you, but there's going to be pictures and descriptions of everything I say to you. It'll all be in that report. Don't worry about it.
And I call it the anti-listing photos, because the listing photos are wide angle, glossy, and beautiful. These are close-ups of every imperfection.
Yeah, I'm only going to show you the things that are, in quotation marks, wrong with the home. But I don't even like to say that. I just like to say things that need to be fixed or maintenanced or adjusted.
Right. Yeah, majority of the time, it's not a deal necessarily killer, but occasionally that's true. But even if what I was saying is, in the event you do choose to waive it to get the home that you want, if it's super competitive, I still recommend you get a home inspection immediately after settlement, so you have this list, because I think of it the same way you do, that it's like a physical for your home. You should do it once in a while. The sad part is nobody does this unless they're transacting. At least I've never met someone.
I would love to, get on the market of telling everyone, saying, hey, everyone should get a home inspection every couple years, because I mean, you should, especially if you're not super handy. I've done it for a couple people, but people only really think about it when it comes time for sale.
It's like testing your water quality or some of these other systems. Most people aren't on top of it necessarily unless it's an actual issue. You have enough issues, right? It's day to day. We all have our own problems.
Absolutely.
So I still recommend you do it, and then you know the order of operation, what to do for your home, and so forth. So that's great. And one of the aspects that I love about you, and I already hinted at it and you've described it, it's that a lot of larger companies that have a ton of employees, you might have one or two studs, if you will, that are there inside the company, but then you have a lot of other, what I call like junior inspectors. And I'm getting old here, so I've done this too many darn years. When I go in and I immediately can tell that this person doesn't have a ton of experience and they're the quote unquote inspector, I get really scared. And so,
that inspector can make or break a home. A little story was when my dad was selling his house, our house did not have that many things wrong with it. It was a 2002, but some inspector came in, flexing his knowledge, terrified the buyer, canceled the sale, all that good, all the 9 yards. But I mean, it's your delivery. So that's why I try to be as unbiased as possible. I'm not there to put any emotion into anything.
Right.
I'm just there to describe what's going on, and I'll even tell you how to fix it. I can't tell you a price necessarily because there's some gray areas with that, but I can tell you exactly who needs to fix it, how to fix it, and if it's a major issue or not.
And that was one of the questions. I actually don't know this answer related to, because you have all these licenses and you have multiple businesses now, which I congratulate you for. I love entrepreneurs and the struggle is real, but I love it.
It's always there, but I mean, the joy is better.
So what are you allowed to do and not do? For example, one of the things I hate about majority of, for example, the chimney inspection companies, they are the same inspectors that then say, oh, by the way, here's a quote for $7,200. I can fix it. Congrats. How do you deal with that?
So there are some legalities around that. So if I inspect the home, I would have to wait 12 months to do any repairs on the home. But I just have a flat standard. I don't do any work on any home I've inspected, just so there's no gray area and there's no overlap. But a lot of times I get homes that people want to get a home inspection for pre-sale. So that's a little
Explain what that means.
So a lot of times, especially if the home is a little nicer, or if people really want to get good value for the home, they will do a home inspection before they list it for sale.
Okay.
So that way we can find all the defects, find all the issues that would get called out on an inspection, and get those addressed ahead of time, so then you can get the full value of the home. And some people just like to make sure they're passing down a good home.
Right.
But that can be a little bit of a gray area. So that's not, I have two different things. I can do a full pre-list.
That scares me, by the way. That's not something I typically recommend.
Well,
do you know why a listing agent might not always recommend that?
I mean, that's a disclosure nightmare.
It's a disclosure. Sure. We are required by law, if the seller and or the agent, or either one of us, right, know about something, you have to disclose it. So get the act of getting an inspection, and I will say, as good as you are, there are others. I say, like an appraisal. If you get 3 appraisals on your home, you're going to get 3 different values.
Oh,
that's the way that works.
Every time.
If I have 3 home inspections on my property, I will get 3 very different reports. Same house. And so that's what always concerned me. I love the idea of it. And I've seen people do like certified pre-owned home.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds so gimmicky.
So I don't do any of that. I have had asked people to have me do an inspection and throw a warranty on it. No shot.
Yeah.
There's too many variables on that. But a lot of nicer homes, or actually it's usually older people selling their home who just want to make sure their home is in good condition to sell it. I come through, if I do a full pre-sale inspection where I do the entire inspection like I would a purchase, I can't do any of the work.
Got it.
But I can also, I have a different service where I say, let me do a little bit of a walkthrough.
Got it.
These are some issues that I see in the home. If you take care of them, then I can do it, but it's not a full inspection.
Got it.
So you kind of got to dance that fine line, and I just haven't really been doing that dance. Luckily, I've been very busy with home inspecting, so I'm just fully booked out with that for a little bit right now.
Yeah, well, I think the home inspection area is ripe, because I think there's quite a few of them out there, but I don't know a lot that I feel passionately that I would want to recommend. So I think part of my job, and any real estate agent that thinks highly of their services and what they provide to their client, I think my responsibility is to find professionals that I would use myself, that I think are super knowledgeable, know their stuff, and are going to be able to convey it in a way that actually protects the client. And some of these companies I've seen so many horrible reports, and if people don't understand how serious I am about it, it's like sometimes you see it and it's criminal, because people will choose, for example, to back out of a home that otherwise would be ideal, especially in a competitive market, which we find ourselves in now. The best of homes, again, now we're in 2026, it's crazy competitive for the great homes. So it's like you could potentially lose an otherwise great house because someone didn't explain to you that it's an $800 typical repair that is not the end of the world. You're good. Whereas sometimes it legitimately is horrible and you need to be notified, but sometimes it's nothing.
It's funny. I have to say, I feel bad when I know I'm about to say some information that might potentially kill the deal. And then I'll think about it for probably like 10 minutes. All right, how do I want to word this so it doesn't just scare them? They don't go running. Let me just address what's going on, tell them what they needs to be fixed, and then you can negotiate it. Because that's where a lot of people get scared. They'll be at the home inspection. They'll see a lot of things come up, maybe a couple expensive things. And I'm like, it's all right. Go to the negotiation table. Don't just run away because you saw a couple issues. Sit on them for a night or two. And then talk to your agent, try and negotiate that out. Because sometimes you never know. That seller might be just willing to fix whatever that issue is. And I'll tell
you, this is a little weird thing. I sold a home years ago to someone, and at the time the inspection went perfectly fine, all good. There was virtually nothing we asked for. You recently did an inspection, same house, and I saw a different report come out of you than I saw before, because I remember, and you called out the electrical panel where the previous inspection company did not. And sure enough, we had an electrician come in to verify the panel, and it needed to be replaced. It was a true safety hazard, and the first inspector never noticed it, never noted it. Does that make sense? So
it makes a lot of sense.
It was a better protection for that new buyer.
Well, I'm glad I caught it. As I try to catch everything, but you can't always. But I mean, things have changed over time. So I don't know when you had that previous inspection, but it also heavily depends on your inspector. I've taken probably 8 to 10 electrical courses. I met with an electrical company and I followed him for 2 days. That was especially when I was thinking about becoming an electrician after I left HVAC. So I have a little bit more experience. I've worked in electrical panels. I knew that one specifically because I went to replace a breaker when installing an HVAC unit. And I was like, I got noted by the HVAC manufacturer that we can't put the breaker in this panel so I have a little bit more knowledge because I've worked in the panels. So if you have an inspector that's either new or doesn't like to do continuing education, doesn't like to check up on new codes or things that have been put out, they're going to be a little bit behind.
And so this is all what it comes down to. And as a consumer, if you're listening, like, you can't know all of these things, right? So you hope, and you're relying on the expertise of someone that supposedly does this every day.
Some people think they do know everything, and those are some of my favorite clients.
I'm sure.
Because mine too. It can be good and bad, because you get someone who's been a contractor their whole life, and they might be the best carpenter in the entire world. But that doesn't mean you understand the electrical systems. The plumbing system, the HVAC. So they'll be hyper fixated on what they do. And I'll be like, all right, you do that. You look at those things. I'm going to look too, but I'll just tell you you're looking for a little while, and I'm going to go look at some of the other important items. So it's give and take with those people, but I always appreciate it because they care. So even if they're being annoying, even if they're being overbearing, the inspection is the time to do that. You're not going to get another time to thoroughly go through the house and ask every single question you have. That's why when I do my walkthroughs, every stage, so outside, basement, middle floor, top floor, I'm asking, do you have any questions?
I was about to ask this question. You led right into it. So I want to kind of have you expand on that, because if you've never bought a home, or if you bought one, it was a long time ago, they might not be aware exactly what a home inspection is and what it's not. And so explain to someone, if I had hired you, I have a house under contract, what does the process look like? What do you do when you arrive? And walk me through what that experience would be.
So start to finish, when I get up, I'm walking up to the property, I'm looking at vegetation, the ground drainage, the whole exterior. And then I'll start looking at the siding, going through everything, checking if there's any gaps or cracks into the home, because moisture is I'd say the number one issue with homes. You get moisture entering the home, you're going to have a problem somewhere.
Right.
So got to make sure the house is completely sealed. Taking a look at the age of your HVAC system, because that's on the outside. Take a look at the cooling system, and then I always get on the roof. A lot of these companies are going drone only.
Yeah.
I think that is a very dangerous game. Yeah. I have a very nice drone.
Yeah, I know you do. Yeah.
I can see very well, but you can't see enough. You have to get on that shingle, or at least put a ladder at the eave so you can at least take a look at it. But I'm getting up on the roof, making sure there's no issues up there, because that's quite costly.
Sure.
If there is. And then I enter the home. I do a full lap of the home, so take a walk through every room, get my bearings, as I like to say, and then I start in the basement. I usually like to start at the electrical panel. I'm taking the cover panel off. I'm looking inside, because there's a lot.
So you typically start in the lowest level.
Oh, yeah. Well, some people have different philosophies on that. I like to start bottom up, because I have walked into a home and almost walked to the floor.
Got it. That makes sense.
So, I was like, all right. And a lot of the problems you'll see are in the basement.
Yeah.
So that's why I like to start down there, work my way up through the home. I'm checking the electrical system, plumbing systems, HVAC system. Pretty much if it moves, operates, or does anything in the home, I'm looking at it. So after we get out of the basement, go upstairs.
And can I highlight one thing there? What is the standard code in Maryland for a home inspector? Do they do exactly what you just described? Is that the standard?
Absolutely not. I actually know several inspectors who I disagree with. They would do what we call is a representative sample.
That's the word. That's the phrase I was looking for. Yep.
And I hate that phrase. I will never use that phrase. I will never live by that in any way, shape, or form. So what that means is some inspectors, they'll come through and they'll test 2 outlets, 1 window through the room.
Right.
You're not going to find everything. It's almost always there's like 1 outlet, 1 window.
But what's been described to me, that is what you're required to do as an inspector. Is that true?
Yes, that's required. I like to say that's the minimum.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't abide by that at all. I test every outlet, every light switch, every fixture in the home. If it operates, turns on, even if it sits there, I'm looking at it. So it does take roughly about 2 to 3 hours. Honestly, a little bit more time that I've been out on my own. I've gotten much more thorough.
Yeah.
I guess just because it's my company.
Because my problems come back to you.
Yep, my name on the line, but it also, I schedule myself differently than I did at the previous job I had. I give myself a lot more time. So I'm always there early. You can't can't beat me there. I'm there minimum 30 minutes early every time. But it can be a little extensive, but I mean, I test everything, and that I actually enjoy it.
Well, I don't want to cut you off, because you were saying after the basement, you got to that second level, the main level typically.
Yep. So the basement's where you find most of your issues. So that's where you can see, especially, I love an exposed basement. Yeah. Because I can see all the plumbing lines, see all the electrical wiring, see all the nitty gritty. But after we get out of the basement, usually I'll get some things running in the kitchen. I'll start the oven, make sure it preheats. I got a little tester, because you'd be surprised how many ovens never get up to temperature. Yeah. Just a little fun fact. I've had 6 in the past month that did not get up to temperature. So check your oven. Yeah. Run the dishwasher. And then I usually start testing all the outlets on the floor, all the lights, all the windows. If it has tilt function, we're checking the tilt function. And then run water at every fixture for usually at least a whole minute, because you might not find that leak immediately. And then make our way to the bathrooms. I'm filling that tub up all the way, letting it sit for 45 minutes. Yeah. If I can, running every fixture. I take pictures of every fixture running, because I get a lot of callbacks. Well, thankfully none, since I've been out on my own. Yeah. But of people being like, hey, I don't know if this will work. So I changed my report. So if there's a fixture, if it can run water, I have a picture of it running in the report. That's smart. So that way because I get a lot of investors too. Yeah. And that way they can get a good feel of the space of the bathroom. So I try to put pictures of everything. I have pictures of every shutoff, electrical, gas, water. Right. I have pictures of the roof. I have pictures of every bathroom, every fixture, pictures of every appliance. So if there's an appliance in the home, obviously I test it, but I also put a nice picture of it, because I have had several times where people will swap out the appliances. I've done jobs where I do the inspection. They have nice new appliances in there. Yeah. Person moves in a month or 2 later. different appliances, older appliances.
Sure.
I mean, an unfortunate amount of times. So
Yeah, I see that sometimes, and so after you get down the first floor, that's when you kind of end up at the higher level. At the top level is where you finish up, and then go to the attic after that. I suppose.
Yep. So I love getting in attics.
I know you do. Yes.
I don't know what it is. I love crawling around in there. I like trying to find all the hidden stuff.
Yeah.
I like trying to find anything because I like to. I'm not going to lie. I like to impress a little bit. Be like, I found this all the way in the back corner, all the way over there. I like you to know I'm being thorough.
I dig it because especially when it gets hot over the summer, as I sweat and I'm like, disgusting, and I'm like trying to be quasi-professional, and I'm like, like, life choices were made, and I'm here, and it's 103 degrees or whatever, 110 degrees, and I'm crawling through this attic, and I'm just like, you want to complain, but I'm like, thank God I'm not stuck in the cubicle where I could have been, when I was thinking about my, possibilities.
I have a little bit of a different perspective, I guess. My perspective is, thank God I'm only in here for 15 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
I used to do HVAC installs. I'd be in that 120 degree attic for 6 hours.
Oh, God.
or roughly. Yeah. Installing systems up there, redoing ductwork, all that. So my theory is, thank God I'm only in here for 15 minutes. It's not that bad.
Yeah.
And I always keep extra shirts because if it's summertime, I'll probably sweat them.
That's so funny. Well, all right. Well, so you kind of walked us through what that's like. And then at the end, what I really like is that you come through and you summarize top to bottom.
I think the walkthrough is the most important
And
part.
that's the walkthrough. That's the finale. That's where if someone can't attend a 3-hour plus home inspection, they have work, whatever, you attend that last half hour to an hour. Just so they can see the entirety of your summary and that walkthrough, because you go room by room.
Yeah,
right?
I want to show you the whole home. I mean, I guess something I should have mentioned as well is I give you a call ahead of time before the inspection to see if you have any concerns about the property, if there were any problem areas that you noticed.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times people will fixate on one thing. I saw a little bit of moisture in the basement, and that's all they're thinking about
the whole time.
And the whole time. So usually I like to tell people, hey, give me 2 hours or so, an hour or two. You can come early, but I'm going to be doing my thing. Give me some time so that way when you get there, I can give you information. Because that walkthrough is, I truly think it's one of the most important parts of this sale, because that's where you get a good feel for the home, and that's where you feel confident or terrified.
Yeah.
So I like to start outside. I mean, I go through the entire home. If it's going to be on the report, I'm going to tell you about it.
Right.
And I try to be as emotionless as possible. And I always try to have a smile during it, because I'm not telling you any of the good stuff. Yeah. I'm telling you all the maintenance stuff, all the quote unquote problems. And sometimes it overwhelms people, even if it's just a lot of maintenance. Even if I told you 20 things, but it's going to cost less than $2,000.
Right.
It's okay.
Yeah.
So that's why I try my best to do at the walkthrough to just educate.
Because your reports, and by the way, the reports of most inspectors will point out the things that are critical. These are you have a massive hole in your roof structure. Like, you have to address this. There's active water coming in. Right. Those are critical, right? And then you have others that are keep an eye on it, but there's nothing technically wrong. It's just maybe an aging system or something.
In my report, I color code it. So I have blue for maintenance, minor items, orange is recommendations, red is major defect.
Right.
So that way it doesn't scare you. So if you see a comment and it's in nice light pretty blue, you go, okay, you just got to take care of it. But if it's in bright dark red, you're like, all right, maybe it's a little different. So I have noticed that has helped people. I don't get as many terrified calls. Yeah. Because previous employer, I felt like everything just kind of seemed a little scary. Yeah. How everything was worded. So I really worked on how I word everything. Because whenever I report in a defect or a recommendation, I describe what it is, I describe what it could cause, and then I describe how to fix it or who needs to fix it. So that way you have, it takes me a little longer, but that way you have all the information there, and you don't need to freak out and call me to be like, okay, well, what could this cause? Yeah. Well, what happens if I don't address this? Who needs to fix this? Because a lot of people will just give you general contractor. But I'll point you a little bit more narrow and specific and say you need either roofer, electrician, plumber, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and I think that's, I like to say where you stop your job is pointing out all the facts. You're like the fact guy. Mm-hmm. And so most inspectors are, if they've been doing it long enough, recognize they shouldn't be giving people quotes. Right. Because if they say it's $800, it turns out to be $18,000.
It's, pricing is a dangerous game, but I get it. And it's hard because other states do offer pricing. It's really common in the South that they will give you estimates right next to it, but I just can't. I am a contractor. I I know what that price should be, but that doesn't
Well, that's
mean
the issue is like, I know my contractors too and what they typically charge, but you call a big kitchen contracting company that specializes and has a beautiful showroom, it could be triple or more.
pricing varies too much in contracting work.
Right.
So I get it. And that's why I don't throw out prices, because I'll give you a fair price, but that doesn't mean the other two people you call are going to give you a fair price.
Yeah.
Or you might call someone who's super cheap and they do terrible work. And I don't like to give out prices. I'll give you a ballpark, but I won't write it down.
Well, it's interesting. I have a client that's moving from Maryland and going to Scotland. And she's in the middle of this. She just bought this interesting, weird castle. It has a moat. It's a whole situation.
That's cool, though.
It's fabulous. It's perfect for her. However, it's a totally different situation. Did you know over there, it was news to me, before you list your home, it's required to have a full inspection.
I like that.
And it's required. So there's none of this, I'm going to waive everything and pray everything works out. Like in this situation, you have a full report provided to anyone that comes in.
I think that should be required for any flip. Oh my God, flips are terrible.
Yeah.
I had a couple this week where we got probably about 45 minutes into the inspection. I was like, let me show you a couple things. And they left before I even finished I was like, I'm going to stay and finish so you'll get that full report and I'll go through everything. But they walked away immediately.
Yeah, and that's a PSA right there. So just because it looks shiny and new, if it's my favorite is buying what I lovingly refer to as grandma's house.
Yes.
That has been maintained the right way. If something was broke, she hired the appropriate contractor. That's how I like to refer to it. Versus someone that flipped it in 6 weeks.
If it's nice and shiny and all white, that tells you to get an inspection.
Yeah.
Especially, new builds. I do a lot of new build inspections, a lot of pre-drywall inspections, and a lot of either flips or renovations. I like to say there's a big difference. I will tell them if it was a flip or if it was a renovation. If it was a renovation, it was done really well. They pulled permits. Everything looks great. It's good quality. If everything was slapped up, hidden, and no permits, then it's a flip. So I have a little bit of a difference in the terminology. But
I didn't know the distinction there, but I will say what I comfortably can say is that I've attended and walked through so many of these properties and inspections that even I, the non-inspector, should be able to distinguish between the ones that you need to run from, because sometimes it's quite obvious, and I can save them the money and the heartache of going through this process.
I love when it's obvious. I do love when it's obvious.
Oftentimes it is. But it's not always, but sometimes it really is.
I just did one where sometimes you really got to look. So some people are deceitful. Yeah. I did one where they pinned up all new wood, it was like plywood. Yeah. And I was like, that's suspicious. So I pull it down. I don't care. Yeah. I rip it down, nothing but termite damage. The entire main structural beam had been chewed through all the way across, and they just encapsulated and completely hid it. And then I was like, all right, now what else needs to be found? They hit aluminum wiring to the point where they put copper coming out of the panel, and then in the junction boxes, that's where it met aluminum. Oh, wow. So I'm checking junction boxes. I'm checking everything. The second you hide something from me, that house is going to get the most thorough inspection you could possibly imagine. I'm looking at everything. It's like a challenge for me at that point. And then I did end up finding I think it was 92 total defects, because my average is usually between 25 to 35 things on the report that I have listed. That one had 92.
Wow, that scares me a little bit. But and by the way, sometimes there are reputations. We live in a community right near and outside around Baltimore that it is a small place, and people have reputations for a reason often. And so I can just see who's listing it and or who did the work, and I can tell you a lot.
Pick up on that. I have started to pick up on that. I didn't realize that as much at first, but I'm like, the last one this guy listed was pretty bad. Let me take a little more thorough look.
Yeah, so I don't want to scare people entirely away from fully renovated properties that are quote unquote flipped.
No, because there are some good ones. Sometimes it's done really well.
But just be more careful.
Yeah, especially since everybody's doing it nowadays.
Right.
That's why everybody's a contractor. Not everybody's licensed.
Right. Well, let's go through. So I want to then go through what some of these other things are people should consider. And I'm going to list them, and then I want to go back over them. So one is radon testing. Everybody asks about radon testing. One is about sewer scoping. One is a well yield and a water quality test. And so there's others, but I first want to go over radon testing. Explain what that is and how you would describe it to somebody if they were during an inspection.
Yeah, of course. So radon is just a gas that is naturally emitted from the ground. It comes up and it can cause different types of cancer and be a little bit of an allergen as well. So if you have asthma, it can be a problem. Especially it's more susceptible to people who are younger and older. So if you've got a lot of kids in the house, definitely a radon test, because that radon gas over time, it's one of those things that takes a lot of time. It takes a couple years of exposure for you to really start to notice anything. But you can develop lung cancer. It can start to cause brain issues. Actually, they're starting to find out that it's starting to develop brain issues and stuff like that. So it's a slow killer. You would never notice it at home. You'll never smell it. You'll never see it. So that's why it's really important to get tested for it. And certain areas are more hot spots. Right. So it really does depend where you live.
And in Maryland, guys, if you're listening to this and you're in Maryland, like, we are a hot spot.
Yeah.
And so it's something we should be concerned with. And if you lived in the same home for 25 years and never heard of it before, get the test done. Right.
Yeah. So it is more of a problem in unfinished basements, because pretty much the main way of preventing it is just sealing your floor in your home so none of that radon gas can make its way from the ground into your home.
Right.
So if you do test it and it is high, it's not the end of the world by any stretch of the means. Usually you just need to put a radon system in, which is a fan system that goes underground, pulls the air, takes it above the home, and stuff like that. So it's not the end of the world, but it's a simple, easy test. It's $180. So it's there. The price
to do
is
it professionally.
To do it professionally, yes.
So you can get a $20 kit at Home Depot as well.
Please be wary of the test at your home kits. You want one because, like, my systems, they have to be recalibrated every year. I got to send it to a lab. Yeah. It's done professionally. So, and it should run for a minimum of 48 hours. Yeah. Usually sits for 12 hours, runs for 48, gets that thorough test.
And the professional ones, because you might not think about this at home, but during a transaction, I've had sellers say they're going to do the little kits. I've had people try to hand the kits and say, hey, the seller, can you put it out and I'll collect it? Guys, they can be manipulated. I've seen them where they take them outside where it's fresh air and it's not encapsulated. Right. So therefore, of course, it's going to come back zero and it's safe.
Whereas my unit has a motion detector on it. Yes. So from the second I put it down, if it's moved, it'll tell me how many feet it's been moved. It'll tell me the elevation it's been moved. So I know if that test has been tampered with, which is another pretty big thing because people try to hide it. Yeah. I can tell. I've had people, look, I didn't move it. I'm like, okay, well, it had high radon, and then you put it next to the window for a day and a half, and then it didn't, and it came back. So
I grew up on a dairy farm in Howard County, and we never tested it because I'm multi-generational in the same home. So
it's also one of those things that it hasn't been as apparent. There hasn't been as many studies, information, not as much knowledge about it until really 2010 moving forward. Right. So especially the older people, I've had a lot of older people tell me they don't believe in it. I'm like, that's great, but we have scientific data that tells us it's 100% there. Yeah. And you're older, so it might not affect you too much now. You might not care. Yeah. But if you've got little munchkins running around, little kids, you want to be extra safe. You want to make sure they don't have any lung issues going forward, that kind of stuff. So it's just one of those silent gases that you just want to make sure you don't have in the home. Yeah. But if you do have it in the home, it's very manageable.
Yeah. So it is, on average, they run, because there's lots of companies that specialize in radon mitigation. So they run somewhere from $1,000 to $1,500 most of the time. So it's not free, but it's also relative to the risk that it can mitigate.
Absolutely.
I think it's maybe the best value you can possibly.
It's definitely worth it. It's always worth it. I mean, health is wealth. Everybody will agree with that. At least I hope. Yeah. But I always recommend people get it tested. You can check the maps. There are maps. I mean, they're not 100% accurate.
Just get it tested, people.
Just get it tested.
And then you just testing it once doesn't mean that it doesn't occur down the road, right?
Correct. Yeah. So it's recommended to do every 2 years. That can be a little.
That's a lot.
That's on the safer side. I usually say every 5 is what I recommend. Especially if you do any major renovations. If you do any altering of the basement, any altering of the floor material, that's when you want to check, because if you had a fully finished basement or you had carpet down, because carpet traps a lot of it as well. If you had carpet down and you removed that and now it's concrete again, your radon levels can rise significantly. Right. So encapsulation is always the best way. So if you want to not have any radon issues, just finish your basement. It'll help. It won't get rid of them, but it will help.
Well, and once again, if you waive inspections in order to be competitive, this is one of the other reasons you must get a home inspection, is because I would prefer a professionally tested. Peace of mind in general, because you could fix it it's very straightforward to fix. It's
Yeah,
a one-day fix.
it's easy to fix, so
Yeah.
why take the risk?
Why take the risk? So, okay, so that's radon in a nutshell. So help me understand what a sewer scope is.
Yeah, so that's where we open up your main sewer line, put a camera down the line, make sure there's no breaks, bellies, issues, backups, clogs, all that good stuff. So sometimes I'll start in the plumbing vents. For a full solar scope, start on the roof, work all the way down, because I've found a lot of blockages in those recently. So that's a new thing I've been doing.
Interesting.
You don't have to do it. I just like to do it because it gives me another excuse to get on the roof. I love getting on the roof.
Yeah.
But usually it's from the inside interior clean out. You'll open that up, send a camera down, and go all the way to the county connection, because that's your responsibility. So from county connection, which is usually the street line. So if you're on a main road, it's going to be in the middle of the street. From county connection back to your home, that's all on you. So if there is any breaks, blockages, or even if it's just an older pipe material, you want to get that sewer scope, because that can be costly if there are any issues.
Yeah. And it can, and once again, it can back up inside of your home. I've had it happen to clients. I've had it happen at my properties that I've
that's
owned.
not fun. That's
it goes
smelly,
from a
nasty
relatively
mess.
easy fix to a disaster.
Yeah, it gets very expensive very quick.
Yeah.
Even just getting someone to take care of it is going to cost you a lot of money because of the hazard there. So sewer line is very important. You know, if you wouldn't, I like to say, you wouldn't buy a car without looking under the engine.
Yeah.
Or under the hood is what I should say, looking at the engine. So get that line scoped. It's not that expensive. Or at minimum.
Do you only do a camera scope, or do you do any other version?
So pretty much a camera scope's the only
reasonable. Yeah.
Is the only reasonable one for a home inspection.
Okay.
If you wanted to get really thorough, you could have a plumbing company come out there and they could graph it. They could tell you exactly where it is on your property. You don't need that for a home inspection. A home inspection is pretty much just like, hey, is everything flowing? Are there any issues with the line? Is the line material in decent shape? Is it a newer material? Is it older? Again, you just want to know, because if you have cast iron, I've seen terracotta drain lines still in the city. You want to know, because then you're going to be a lot more prone to backups and issues.
Right. And this is another public service announcement. If you're in the Baltimore region and you have public sewer, you can get a company. You want to explain who I always recommend? I know you know
I recommend them too.
Yeah.
And truthfully, if you have no issues with the plumbing lines and all that, I usually will push people towards getting the insurance, home serve.
Yep. The company, guys, is Home Serve. Check it out. Yeah.
Just because it's a little easier. I mean, if you really want to know, that's fine. But if it looks like your plumbing lines have been updated, you have PVC in the home, everything's flowing perfectly, you don't have any indicators that there are any issues, I usually just recommend going with the insurance, because then you also don't have disclosure.
Yeah.
Because it's a little bit of a fine line you have to dance.
Right.
But
you're referring to pre-listing.
No, I'm talking the inspection as well.
See, I recommend it every time.
I'm sorry. I misspoke. I don't recommend the sewer scope every time.
Oh, I see.
I recommend the sewer line insurance every time. It's not always necessary to get the sewer scope. And then if there is a minor issue, and I tell you, even if it's a minor belly in the line or a very, very minor crack, that's not going to cause you any issues for 10 plus years.
Yeah.
You now have to tell the insurance company, and that has to be fixed before they'll do anything.
So the key here, so this is once again disclosure law, and any attorney will tell you this, that once you know something, you can't unknow it, right? So if you have the insurance in place, you could have it in place. It takes a 30-day grace period. Mm-hmm. So once you do that, you could then, at that point, do an inspection if you chose. In fact, Home Serve will pay for the inspection. Sorry, buddy, that's a cut out of Jake's pocket here. But the Home Serve will actually pay for the inspection to happen. And if they find something, they will warranty it. And they guarantee it. Their warranty is up to $10,000 per incident.
Yeah. I've had it save clients.
And it's $0 deductible. And on average, guys, this cost, depends on the policy. And if you can call them and you get a discount, usually when you call them, up to 50%, it's like $6 a month to $12 a month is the coverage.
I mean, it's nothing to add
for a no deductible $10,000. It's a no-brainer.
Yeah, and that's why I push people towards it. I know it's like
it's like one more thing to sell, one more thing to put to the list.
Yeah, and sure, it's money out of my pocket, but truthfully, it's what's best for you. And that's what I'm trying to do at all times. So if you don't need to spend that $300 for me to open up your sewer line and take a look at it when the house was built in 2018, everything's flowing perfectly, there's not a single issue, it's PVC.
Yeah.
Get the insurance
and call it a day.
And call it a day. Have the peace of mind. So that way, if you do have a little bit of an issue, it's taken care of and at a much lower cost
Right.
than it would be if I did the sewer scope, you found the information,
Right.
sat on it for 8 years, and then you have to do it your own. You're spending triple, if not more.
Right. And so, all right, so the next thing would be a well yield. So, guys, if you're not on public water and sewer, you're going to go into a different category. That's when you look at your well, which is private water. And so explain what that would look like. So what is a well yield, and then what is typically like a water quality test? What does that mean?
So a well yield is just testing the efficiency of your well. So from the tank, we'll drain the tank, check your well tank, tank pressure, all that, make sure everything's in good working order with your system, depending what you have, because sometimes they have well tank with the filtration system. So I look at the filtration system, look at the well tank, try to give you the age, the size, because that's something you have to replace every so often as well. A lot of people don't think about that. I have seen well tanks from the 70s.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, you need to get someone out here. So it's just one of those things. I'll give you all the tank information, but the well yield itself is just seeing how many gallons per minute that well is providing to
And that's done in a very scientific manner, isn't it? Explain to me how that
works. It is done it's technically scientific, but it looks silly. Yeah, pretty much you're just taking a hose straight from the well and filling a 5-gallon bucket and timing it.
Yes.
And then you input your data, it does the calculations, it gives you how many gallons per minute the well is producing.
Well, I must say, this is not you. You are fit. You just came from the gym, the whole thing. But let me tell you a little something. The largest company, I'm not going to say who they are, that does this exact test, that's all they do. Mm-hmm. I call it, it's not a 5-gallon bucket like the test. They time it based on how many cigarettes they can have while they're listening to the radio at full blast, pounding cigarettes in the front yard.
That type of stuff infuriates me, but that's just another pet peeve of mine. But
it's funny because it's so true.
Yeah, it is. And it'll look silly, but it's giving you the gallons per minute for your well, which is actually really important. Yeah. Because anything less than 2, it requires a contractor. 2 gallons per minute. Requires a contractor to immediately come out and see what you can do to try and get that up. That's the minimum.
What is the minimum to build nowadays?
I think it jumped to 4.
Is it?
Yeah.
So in the county, I believe it's 1 gallon a minute.
Right. So
it's the bare minimum.
It depends where you are.
Yeah.
So certain counties have different regulations. Howard County is different from Harford and Baltimore County.
Because sometimes I'm telling you, it's hard to get a lot of pressure in these spaces.
Yeah,
and then
it is.
There's ways around it. They're expensive. But you have to get these big holding tanks, and you have to pressurization system.
That's a whole nother ball game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you should be aware of it. The point of this podcast today is to be aware of these challenges. You might still want to buy, right? But you need to be aware of what you get yourself into.
So I do know the requirement for 4 gallons is if you have a tank too. So that's pressure coming from the tank. So if you have a big holding tank, that tank itself needs to produce 4 gallons.
New construction now, you're going to have a sprinkler system. Yeah. And so nowadays,
some of those tanks are crazy. I just saw a 1,500-gallon tank.
Yeah.
For a house.
Wow. That's big time.
It was gigantic. It's the size of this wall.
Yeah.
You know, so that's a whole other thing.
Yeah, a swimming pool.
Yeah. So you really want to have anything above 4. Anything below 4, you're going to run into some issues if you're running a lot of appliances at one time. And that's why you need to know how many gallons per minute you can have. So if you have a lower gallons per minute for that well yield, you're not going to be taking 3 showers at the same time, running your washing machine and your dishwasher without a hiccup.
Unless you know what you're doing and have a system in place to counteract it, like a holding tank or some other.
So again, it just comes back to educating the client on what they're buying. Right. So if you do have a slightly lower gallon per minute, you just need to know ahead of time, hey, I just need to be a little cognitive of my water usage.
And coming back to what I do for a living, the sales part, you need to be aware because resale will absolutely be affected. So if you buy it without that knowledge,
FHA is starting to require it.
Yeah. So certain loan programs, the Federal Housing Administration, FHA, they require it. If you have a VA loan, if you're a veteran and you use that loan product, they're going to be requiring it.
And I like it.
Yeah.
I mean, sure, it's another cost, and I mean, I get paid more, so of course I like it. But no, truly, I like it because I think it's one of those things you really need to know about your home. Same with the septic system.
Yeah.
If you're buying a house and it has a septic system, you better get it inspected. Yep. I have done plenty of inspections where they're like, oh, I don't need this septic inspected. Yes, you do.
Yeah.
If that septic fails, you're looking at sometimes between $30,000 to $50,000, depending on the home.
And the reason why, Jake, I know you know it, but for those that aren't totally aware of this, it's because the rules about what you can do and what type of system that you can put in it can vary dramatically based on location.
Very
So
much
some
so.
of these systems are really expensive. Now, I grew up on a farm. I already mentioned that. So that's like a hole in the ground with a concrete box. And
Yeah, the farms are a little easier. If you have the space, it's easy. If you have no space and you're at sea level, you're spending a pretty penny.
So once again, so there's certain things like outlets. There's certain things it's like easy to fix, right? Even a panel, it's not inexpensive necessarily, a couple thousand, but it's easy to be done, relatively speaking. What you're describing, it can be really, really expensive and or prevent you from selling at all in the future.
Yeah, it can prevent you from selling. It can prevent you from living comfortably in any way, shape, or form. If that system fails and you get it back up into the home and you now have a surprise bill for $20 to $30, even more $1,000, you might not be happy. You might have to live with it for a little while.
Yeah. And so then we also, in addition to that, we do water quality testing.
Yeah,
and
that's
that is
a really
also
important
required
one.
in certain loan programs. But explain what that is.
I wish more people did water quality testing, especially in the city.
Yeah. I was going to say, I'm on public water here. Should I?
It's just one of those things. It's not expensive.
Yeah.
You get it tested. It'll tell you everything that's in your water, and it'll recommend if you need a filtration system or not. Yeah. So FHA, VA, certain loan types require it, and especially if you have a well, get it tested. Yeah. No matter what.
A well's a no-brainer, but I'm telling you, virtually nobody does.
Nobody does it, but I recommend it a lot, and I even tell people you can get a local test. You can pay for me to send it to a lab. You can send it to a lab yourself, or you can go get a local water test, and they are actually decent enough compared to like the radon ones. Yeah. The water test, it's just test your water. If you're drinking it every day, you should. Well, a lot of these
companies that are water quality companies, that's all they do. So they're not a home inspection company like you, but that's what they do. They will actually either do it completely for free, or they're going to subsidize it so it's almost free for you to do a test.
If they're selling you something.
There you go.
There it is. Yep.
Most of the time that you need a softener. There's always some way to enhance your public water supply.
Yeah, we just put a reverse osmosis system in our home just because the water was a little bit...
For the entirety of the home or just...
For the entirety of the home.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean, luckily I can install it. So I just ordered it. I didn't have to pay for install, so it helps a little bit. But it made a big difference. I noticed a significant difference in taste immediately from it. And then just...
You don't miss the minerality?
No, I don't miss that metallic taste. And that was what I had. Even though the home is all PEX, which is plastic supply lines, I was like, something's a little off with this water. When it got it tested, they were like, yeah, you should get a filtration system. So really anywhere. I mean, it's your drinking water.
I do a 3-stage filtration, but I decided against RO because I've tested both, and I think RO tastes like this pristine.
It does have a different taste.
It has a different taste, and
everybody's
I don't
different. I like that taste.
It strips everything out. I want the minerals. My favorite water ever is the spring water that comes from a natural source that's really, really high in minerals.
So the RO system I have adds minerals back.
See,
it has another one.
Those are the good systems.
So that is important. So you don't want to remove everything. Yeah. But there are a lot of systems now come with a little mineral filter, so it'll go through there and add it, and you change it.
What I tasted had nothing. It was stripped out, and I was like, this can't even be healthy.
A lot of the at-sink ones do that. But I mean, get your water tested. It's just something simple. It's not expensive. It's really easy to do. And then you know the quality of your water. You know for peace of mind for however long you're living there. Do I have clean water, or should I maybe think about ways to get cleaner water into the home?
And all the things we're discussing today, this is, I know I have listeners that tell me they check out our podcast and they're in the business. Sometimes they're newer in the business. And I would say to any newer agent or someone considering this as a career, I think you should attend at least, I don't know a specific number, maybe 20, 30, 40 home inspections before you sell a house. I don't know how else to describe it. God, it would be a better
I wish realtors would do that. I love your team. I love working with your team because you force them to do that.
Yes. They're going to inspections.
Yeah. They don't have an option. I mean, they do, but I know what you mean. They're at every inspection and they're knowledgeable. And I deal with it all the time, but it's honestly infuriating when I deal with an agent who knows absolutely nothing about a home, and I'm going over things, and I'll be describing something that can be pretty serious, and they'll be like, "Oh, it's fine," and I'm like, no, it's not. But there's always going to be the agents that just want the sale.
Yeah.
So I've had to protect a couple clients from that. I've had to pull people aside and be like, hey, he keeps saying this isn't an issue, but you're looking at like $40,000 worth of repairs. That's here or there. But
yeah. Well, I say, as once again to the agents, you should be building a referral-based business, and I don't care necessarily about an individual sale, because that's not one sale, especially in this stage of my career, is not doing anything for me. It
shouldn't, hopefully.
It's not doing anything for me anymore. So like one sale isn't making or breaking my life or my family's life. So it's more about the relationship you build with a client. You want to build a client that would prefer to refer you. And if you get them in a situation where 6 months later, they're going, oh my God, look what I got into. That is not a way to build a referral-based business.
Yeah. I mean,
it's quite the opposite.
My entire business is based off relationships. I try my absolute best to develop a really good relationship with every home buyer. That's why I tell every person who I do an inspection for, I say, even if you move in 6 months after you move in, call me. If you have a question about the home, I'll help you figure it out. I'll come over and look at it. I've done that multiple times. There was a Miss Chris. She's 78 years old. She called me. She's like, her hose bib was leaking. She couldn't find it. I did the home inspection for 8 months ago. I drove out last week, shut it off for her. I love doing that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But a lot of home inspectors are taillight warranty.
Yeah. Well, and one thing at some point I want to get your assistance with, and I have my other inspectors that I've consistently used, I would love, and tell me if this is even possible, when you go through a home, and this might be too specific for some people because they might not care about this particular question, but I would love to have all of the details of the appliances, the approximate ages of systems, because I want to create an app which nowadays with all these AI tools, even a dummy like me can create an experience.
I think I know where you're going, and I've thought about this.
And because I was like, how much value could that be? Because I always want to be relevant to a consumer, to a client, after the sale for the next 5 to 7 years before they move
Something
again.
I've been working on is it's like a home binder. It's kind of like that. So with my inspection, I give you the age of everything. Average age, rough age of your roof.
But it's stuck in this,
stuck in
report.
And you got to filter through it. Yeah. So something I've been flirting with, I don't really know how I would promote it or go about it, is I want to give you like a shortened list where it's age of your roof, age of your HVAC system, age of water heater, age of all your appliances, with a picture of like the serial numbers and the appliances in there. I would love to do that.
I already got it. I know enough to know it's going to be. If we don't do it together right now, Jake, someone's going to do it.
Someone's doing it.
Because
thought about it.
What AI is going to do is they're going to connect a language model that has access to all these details, and the key is to marry that with someone's individual home, because it will know everything about that electrical panel that may or may not need to be replaced. You'll have photos of the inside. You'll have all the raw data. Right. That is key, because without data, it's not of much value. But you could ask it questions. I could literally talk to my app and say, I need to buy a new XYZ for my home. Will it fit? Or what type, was it a gas dryer for my, I don't know. What kind of water heater do I have?
So yeah, that's the issue. I mean, I would just have to find something that could then maybe go through my reports and pull the important
You'll just
information.
upload the report, and then someone can interact with it and speak it in a natural language.
I would love to do that. I would love to give people a home binder too. Like something that can say, here's all the important stuff. Here's where all your main shutoffs are.
Yeah.
All the important things to know. Here's where your hose bib shutoffs are. Here's the age of everything. This is just a little cheat sheet of everything you should know about the home.
We're going to do it, Jake, because I'm going to get it so they can literally talk to it. So in the days of going in and trying to find the page of where this thing is, no one wants that stuff. No. Everyone has attention spans of 5-year-olds,
Oh, yeah. Trust me.
I want the answer immediately.
Oh, so many times on walkthroughs, I'm like, hey, this is important.
Come back here. Put your phone down.
Yeah, reel it in.
So we're going to work on that, Jake. So the next time I forget that you've been here, we're going to come back and we're going to talk about how we built this app. We're probably on an island somewhere. We've been retired because of how successful that app is.
Absolutely.
But we'll talk about what we can see from our island retreat.
Yeah, because I mean, even on the walkthroughs, it's like, because I already do that. I already after I finish the walkthrough, I do like a little summary, just because also I try to put the good information in your head at the end, so you're not leaving freaked out. I'll be like, hey, you have a newer system, newer roof, newer this. Those are the big ticket items. Keep that in your mind, and then go through the list.
So, and I want to wrap it up here, but what I would want to say is not only like the highlights we just discussed, you don't don't have to remember, honestly, any of the things we just said. It's a matter of who you have that can accurately and diligently go through the home. And the key part, the reason I refer you isn't just because I believe you're a good inspector. I actually know others that are very similar in terms of their qualifications in a lot of those respects. But it's how you deliver the information, because I don't care what you know necessarily unless you also can deliver it in a manner that is going to be received well, and you can get your thoughts across. And I'm telling you, that is the biggest difference, because there's enough other inspectors that are...
it's worth everything. I mean,
very important.
It is very important. I do not want to scare anybody. I just want to educate you. I just want to tell you what's going on in the home and that it can be fixed.
And cover my tail. Actually inspect the house. Because if you miss it, no matter... They all think that I recommend several inspectors every time, never just one, because I want to do it in an ethical way. But the thing is, they all refer to you as, or any of the inspectors, as my inspector. So then if something's missed, it's Matt's fault.
Absolutely.
And it's, you want to make sure that people don't feel that way. And I want to protect them.
Yeah. And that's why I try to tell people, it'll be like, hey, if you have an issue, call me.
Yeah.
It's not going to be everything. I can't go through everything in the home. I can't be here for 12 hours, but I went through 95% of the home.
Yeah.
So if you find that 1%, give me a call.
Yeah.
I'll come out. We'll figure it out. We'll make it right.
Well, Jake, you're doing your thing, and I'm proud of you for starting your own company, your own brand. It's White Oak Home Services, so whiteoakhs.com. And I know you got your social media. You're getting that on point. And
yeah, I'm trying to get the videos going.
It's hard. You do your day job all day, and you're like, oh, and I have to post.
I forget every time. The inspection I had this morning, I was like, I should have taken a video of that electrical panel.
All people care about is the horror stories. So that's all. No one wants to say, hey, look how beautiful this panel is. No, the opposite. Like, look at this. Everything's screwed up.
Yeah. So I've been trying to get Instagram going a little bit more, trying to get the reels, but we're working on it. It's building.
It's building. So there you go. Well, I appreciate you coming today, and I eventually will have you back, hopefully, and we'll discuss. I'm not kidding. We're going to figure that app out.
I'd love to. It'd be such a good product, and I think everyone would want it.
I would. I think an interactive way to speak about and to your home. The only people that have that knowledge would be the agent that helped you buy it and the inspector that combed through it.
Yeah.
Let's marry all of that, and then they can add in, as they own the home, any receipts for improvements.
Right.
So they can add details as they go.
And I mean, even resale value, you have all that information too.
Yeah.
So it's not a full inspection, but you can say, here, look, I have all
Here's
the
a history
about
of
the entire
I've owned
home.
it for 10 years.
Carfax for the home.
Yeah, it's everything I've ever done, and it's transparent. I think that would be fantastic.
We'll have to get on it.
Yeah, no one else listen to this. This is all copyrighted. We'll make sure we have this patented and copyrighted, please. All right, we'll be on that. Well, thanks again. Thanks again, Jake, for joining me.
Happy to be here.
Till next time. And big thank you to our sponsor, First Home Mortgage. You can check them out at firsthome.com.